We're back, people. What is up? Going over the 2026 NFL Draft, top 3 quarterbacks for the Miami Dolphins in this video. Dolphins potentially going to be picking very high in this draft, so quarterback should be on the table. This has nothing to do, with Tua, whether you think he's good, bad, irrelevant to this. The Dolphins will have to consider a quarterback at the top of this class just because it's very likely that they do kind of a full restart. That's why, I'm not going to go too much into, we don't know who will be, a great scheme fit. I'll go into scheme a little bit to talk about these players and I think how they would fit with potentially different coaches, because that is always very important, your fit with the team. I think, a lot of players don't end up working out at the NFL level just because they end up in the wrong sort of system or just with the wrong people around them. This will be definitely interesting. These 3 guys, there's some overlap there with these guys as players, but not all of them are, quite the same. So I think is, number 3 here. We're starting with Dante Moore, Oregon quarterback. Listed about 6'3", 205. Like him as a player. I think, his best trait is his ability to make some big-time throws. I like his deep ball accuracy. I think his timing on those, the mixture of velocity and touch, is very good in those situations. So I think that's where a side of Dante Moore can thrive. He can do that under center stuff. As a scheme fit, if you talk about, a team where I think he would fit, I'm not using them as this is where he should go, but if you're running a similar system to say the Lions, I think that's kind of where you could die, a run first team where you go off play action and take some deep shots. You ever watch the Lions offense? It's kind of what they do with Jared Goff. I think there's some room like that where he can, kind of thrive. He can make plays off script as well, which is always nice. Has some awkward arm angles, decent enough arm talent, athleticism. He's not going to blow you away with his physical traits, but they are good enough combined with the other stuff. Able to ability to work on in structure and outside of structure, which is nice. He's also very young, so I still think there's some development to work with, but the big playability is always very helpful when it comes to translating the next level. I think when you go to his film, it's the Indiana game. So that Indiana game, he definitely struggled versus Indiana. They gave him a lot of different looks, a lot of different pressures, because in other games, I actually thought he handled pressure quite well, knowing where to throw hot, but I think he just didn't know. He always thought the pressure was coming from somewhere else pre-snap, and then it came from a different spot post-snap, and I think that just had him really frazzled in that one. So you got to hope that was kind of just a one-off sort of struggle game for him. Quarterbacks are going to have bad games. But I will say the good thing from that is he did bounce back the next week, against a lesser team in Rutgers, but it is nice to see the mental toughness to bounce back after the fact. That is very important for, especially an NFL quarterback, to have that mental fortitude. I think that's something that all these guys have is good poise and mental toughness, which is very, very big. You just listen to them in their interviews and just from watching the film, it seems like they're all guys that can handle that stuff, because that can be hard to evaluate sometimes, is that sort of want to and that mental side, not even just strictly football, but just handling that sort of pressure, which I think they all kind of do. And getting into number 2, speaking of Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback, started his, career at Cal, transferred to Indiana, getting into this pro, getting in pro ready. At Indiana, they do run a lot of RPO, which I think kind of limits him sometimes, but he is a very good RPO quarterback. But I would like to see them let him sling that ball around, because he makes some high-level throws. I love his ball placement. I think his ball placement has been so good. I think the film backs it up, and a lot of the advanced stats sort of back that up with his placement there. Pretty good pocket awareness, which is big for translating the next level. I think guys that you see have pretty quick success at the NFL level are guys that can handle the pressure in the pocket, avoid reset. He's not the most mobile guy, but I wouldn't say he's a complete statue either. He's got a little bit of juice there. He's at 6'5" in that 220-ish range. We'll find out their exact measurements when combine rolls around. But he's got some good physical traits to work with combined with his mental traits. I think he's a very smart player, good football IQ. He understands where he's supposed to go with the ball based on coverages that he gets. So his football intelligence is definitely there, and I think he can torque that ball. The hip torque that he gets out of it, quick release. He has an elastic release too, which is nice. Get that ball out and then be accurate at kind of all 3 levels. Can get a little bit, at times maybe that internal clock could be a little bit quicker, but I think that's something he's improved upon to get through those progressions, because he doesn't get asked to go through progressions a ton at Indiana, but if you go back to his Cal film, it's there. He understands, go from 1 to 2 to 3, combine the feet and stuff like that. And he's had some high-level film this year. Wouldn't surprise me if Mendoza goes even first overall. I think that's a very real possibility at this point. And just like some of the film, like he understands like where that backside safety is, finding some stuff. Can maybe get a little bit locked onto that first read. But my favorite trait of Mendoza is something I think he does a really good job is like his poise and toughness. Like when he is about to get crushed, like he has a free rusher right in his face, he's about to get crushed. He will make a high level throw, whether it's it's hitting, ripping that seam down the middle of the field, throwing the whole shot. Like he has some impressive whole shots. He's about to get crushed, and he will make a high level throw into a fairly tight window, whether he has to layer it over the top or just deliver an absolute bullet. That stuff is very, very impressive for quarterback play. Not many can do it, and the fact that he's showing that already is very, very huge. It makes me feel like, okay, this guy can translate pretty quickly with a lot of his mental traits and has the physical traits to hold up as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with Mendoza. I feel good about him as a player. Probably the safest quarterback of these three, in my opinion, in terms of like being pro ready. I think, especially you get him in a solid system. And we get to number one, and actually my favorite QB of the bunch. This is the one that I think could actually because I think all three of these guys are like starterable level quarterbacks, which is actually pretty good for a QB class. Actually, pretty rare to find that. You get to Ty Simpson from Alabama. I really like Ty Simpson. He kind of is the best combination of what you're looking for here in terms of like football IQ. I think he's very smart, like has a very good understanding of what's going on pre-snap, post-snap. I think he's got good physical traits in terms of like arm talents, can make a lot of the throws. And I think he's a pretty good athlete too to make plays off script. So like the on script stuff, it's there. Like he has anticipation. He has a good understanding of like, the timing and like the rhythm of plays. I think he has the cleanest mechanics. His mechanics are super clean. And like, I think his ability within the pocket is good. Like he's shown some big growth under pressure so far. I still think there's some inexperience there because this is his first year to start. Ty Simpson's a junior. Dante Moore's a redshirt sophomore. They might not even declare, so this is his first year starting. So there's some stuff he needs to clean up and just get more experience, which I think that's why I feel so high on him because he's already playing so clean and he has limited experience. I'm like, wow, he could get even better. So like playing on script, very good, very smart to pre-snap. You'll see some clips where like he identifies where he's hot and then makes a great ball placement throw. The accuracy is there. I've seen him make some insane plays off script where, he floats out. I think he can do better under pressure in terms of like, I think he feels pressure well, and he can even break some tackles because he's listed at about like that 6'2", 210 range. Sorry, I had to look it up. And he like can actually, I've seen him like even work through some contact too, step up. But I think there's sometimes he'll hold on to the ball too long instead of throwing it away. They think that's an area he can work on. But man, like he'll deliver with the torque, the football IQ, arm talent, the athleticism. I'm looking at all my notes that I have on him. Can operate within the pocket. He has the poise that translates very nice to the NFL. Plays a lot of confidence, which is good. The speed, the athleticism there, he can extend, make throws. Like I just feel like all around, I feel really strong about Ty Simpson. I think the only reason like I'm not like for sure, I'm waiting for the end of the season to really put him as my QB1. Because he still has a little bit of a limited sample size just because this is his first year starting. But as of right now, he is my QB1. I'm just waiting for it to sort of solidify with the rest of the year because I don't really see his play like falling off a cliff or anything. But yeah, football intelligence, everything to love about it is because he does all the quarterback stuff well, but makes some really impressive athletic plays. Like I'm watching this guy rip, like hold safeties with his eyes, ripping the backside, seam on the opposite side, hitting that post with timing. His footwork's super clean as well. Upper body mechanics also good. Has a plus arm for sure. So yeah, all around, really kind of like all three quarterbacks. I think all startable level. I think there's some other quarterbacks in this class that I like, but these are pretty clear top three for me. In terms of being like NFL ready right away and guys that I think can go fairly high in the draft. Wouldn't surprise me if Simpson, Mendoza go, like top 5. Like I think that's very possible. And then say Moore goes like in that like top 10, maybe top 15 range. And then maybe that would be just those three. Wouldn't be surprised if some other guys went in there like Sellers and stuff. But those would be the three that I'm looking at if I was Miami. And then maybe my preference would change based on who your coach was. Because coaching fits matters a lot for quarterback 6 at the NFL level. And you don't want to try to force someone to fit in, like, because I do like all three of these guys, even though, I slightly prefer certain ones, but we'll see how it ends up playing out. And before people leave the comment, like, don't want another Alabama quarterback. First thing you learn when it comes to scouting, scout the player, not the helmet. Players are all different. And even when it comes to like, sometimes, a player might end up being similar to one that played at a similar school. It's because they were under same coaching. Ty Simpson is not being coached by Nick Saban. They are running different system there. So that's something to definitely take note of. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, comment and subscribe to the